morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning, Tony. Good morning, Lily. So I'm asking for extra prayers today. My friend is having surgery right now, and I'm just waiting for her message to come saying that she is okay and home. So, all right, thank you, Lily. So a couple minutes early. Yeah, prayers for her. I don't know all the details, so um, but I'm hoping that they figure out what's going on. So yeah, I put in the chat the link to come up on panel if you would like. You don't have to, but if you would like to, you can, as long as it has to do with AA or my channel. And I have to be able to see who you are. Anyways, so I just wanted to come on a little early and ask for prayers. And I usually don't ask for prayers for anything, but for my friends, I do, and my family. So please just, if you have extra ones you can spare, please send them our way. Um, but yeah. Anyways, I'm Sandra, and I'm an alcoholic. And today is an AA meeting. Please be respectful in the chat. Um, of course, you don't have to be in the chat if you don't feel comfortable. I completely understand that. And don't harass anyone or passing judgment um, on anybody here. Just because they're in the chat doesn't mean that they are the alcoholic. They might be here to support my channel or help a friend or a family member with their journey. And, anyways, so God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So I always put in the description what we're reading, what book, what chapter, what story, what page, all of it should be there. So, and for reference on Steps and Traditions, I get them out of the front of the Steps and Traditions book. Um, but the steps I know by heart. So I do them twice a week. I work the steps every day, but I read them twice a week. Anyways, one, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. Two, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Three, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. Four, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. Five, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. Six, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defective characters. Seven, humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings. Eight, made a list of all persons we had harmed and become willing to make amends to them all. Nine, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10. Continue to take personal inventory, and when wrong, promptly admit it. 11. Doctor prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. We are reading the big book, and I have the 4th edition, so yours might be on a different page than mine, depending on the edition. We're in chapter 6, into action, and we're on page 78. And I'm going to start in 9. In 9 cases, out of 10, the unexpected happens. Sometimes the man we are calling upon admits his own fault, so feuds of years standing melt away in an hour. Rarely do we fail to make satisfactory progress. Our former enemies sometimes praise what we are doing and wish us well. Occasionally, they will offer assistance. It should not matter, however, if someone does throw us out of his office. We have made our demonstration, done our part. It's water over the dam. Most alcoholics owe money. We do not dodge our creditors. Telling them what we are trying to do, we make no bones about our drinking. They usually know it anyway, whether we think so or not. Nor are we afraid of disclosing our alcoholism on the theory it may cause financial harm. Approached in this way, the most ruthless creditor will sometimes surprise us. Arranging the best deal we let these people know we are sorry. Our drinking has made us slow to pay. We must lose our fear of creditors no matter how far we have to go. For we are liable to drink if we are afraid to face them. Perhaps we have committed a criminal offense, which might land us in jail if it were known to the authorities. We may be short of our accounts, and unable to make good. We have already admitted to this in confidence to another person, but we are sure we would be imprisoned or lose our job if it were known. Maybe it's only a petty offense such as padding the expense account. Most of us have done that sort of thing. Maybe we are divorced and have remarried, but haven't kept up the alimony to number one. She is indignant about it and has a warrant out for our arrest. That's a common form of trouble too. Although these reputations take innumerable forms, there are some general principles which we find guiding. Reminding ourselves that we have decided to go to any length to find a spiritual experience. We ask that we be given strength and direction to do the right thing, no matter what the personal consequences may be. We may lose our position, our reputation, or face jail, but we are willing. We have to be. We must not shrink at anything. Usually, however, other people are involved. Therefore, we are not to be the hasty and foolish martyr who would needlessly sacrifice others to save himself from the alcoholic pit. A man we know had remarried because of resentment and drinking. He had not paid alimony to this first wife. She was furious. She went to court and got an order for his arrest. He had commenced our way of life and secure a position and impressed heroic if he had walked up to the judge and said, "Here I am." We thought he ought to be willing to do that if necessary, but if he were in jail, he could provide nothing for either family. We suggested he write his first wife admitting his fault and asking forgiveness. He did, and also sent a small amount of money. He told her what he would try to do in the future. He said he was perfectly willing to go to jail if she insisted. Of course, she did not, and the whole situation has long since been adjusted. Before taking drastic action which might implicate other people, we secure their consent. If we have obtained permission, have consulted with others, and asked God to help, and the drastic step is indicated, we must not shrink. This brings to mind a story about one of our friends. While drinking, he accepted a sum of money from a bitterly hated business rival, giving him no receipt for it. He subsequently denied having received the money and used the incident as a basis for discrediting the man. Thus used his own wrongdoing as a means of destroying the reputation of another. In fact, his rival was ruined. He felt that he had done a wrong he could not possibly make right. If he opened that old affair, he was afraid it would destroy the reputation of his partner, disgrace his family, and take away his means of livelihood. What right had he to involve those dependent upon him? How could he possibly make a public statement exonerating his rival? After consulting with his wife and partner, he came to the conclusion that it was better to take those risks than to stand before his creditor guilty of such ruinous slander. He saw that he had a place to place the outcome in God's hands, or he would soon start drinking again, and all would be lost anyhow. He attended church for the first time in many years. After the sermon, he quietly spread approval, and today he is one of the most trusted citizens of his town. This all happened years ago. The chances are that we have domestic trouble. Perhaps we are mixed up with women in a fashion we wouldn't care to have advertised. We doubt it in this respect, alcoholics are fundamentally much worse than other people. But drinking does complicate sex relations in the home. After a few years with an alcoholic, a wife gets worn out, resentful, and uncommunicative. Communicative. How could she be anything else? The husband begins to feel lonely, sorry for himself. He commenced to look around in the nightclubs or their equivalent for something besides liquor. Perhaps he is having a secret and exciting affair with the girl who understands. In fairness, we must say that may understand, but what are we going to do about a thing like that? A man so involved often feels very remorseful at times, especially if he is married to a loyal and courageous girl who has literally gone through hell for him. Whatever the situation, we usually have to do something about it. If we are sure our wife does not know, should we tell her? Not always, we think. If she knows in a general way that we have been wild, she will tell. Should we tell her in detail? Undoubtedly, we should admit our fault. She may insist on knowing all the particulars. She will want to know who the woman is and where she is. Feels we ought to say to her that we have no right to involve another person. We are sorry for what we have done, and God willing, it shall not be repeated. More than that, we cannot do. We have no right to go further. Though there may be justifiable exceptions, and so we wish to lay down no rule of any sort. We have often found this the best course to take. Our design for living is not a one-way street. It is a good for the wife as for the husband. If we can forget, so can she. It is better, however, that one does not needlessly name a person upon whom she can vent jealously. Perhaps there are some cases where the utmost frankness is demanded. No outsider can appraise such an intimate situation. It may be that both will decide that the way of good sense and loving kindness is to let bygones be bygones be bygones. Each might pray about it, having the other one's happiness uppermost in mind. Keep it always in sight that we are dealing with that most terrible human emotion, jealousy. Good generalship may decide that the problem be attacked on the flank rather than risk of face to face combat. If we have such complications, there is plenty we should do at home. Sometimes we hear an alcoholic say that the only thing he needs to do is to keep sober. Certainly he must keep sober, for there will be no home if he doesn't. But he is yet a long way from making good to his wife or parents, whom for years he has so shockingly treated. Passing all understanding is the patience mothers and wives have had with alcoholics. Had this not been so, many of us would have no homes today, would perhaps be not here anymore. The alcoholic is like a tornado roaring his way through the lives of others. Hearts are broken, sweet relationships are dead, affections have been uprooted, selfish and inconsiderate habits have kept the home in turmoil. We feel a man is unthinking when he says that sobriety is enough. He is like a farmer who came up out of his cyclone cellar to find his home ruined. To his wife he remarked, "Don't see anything the matter here, Ma. Ain't grand the wind stopped blowing?" Yes, there is a long period of reconstruction ahead. A remorseful mumbling that we are sorry won't fill the bail or fill the bill at all. We ought to sit down with the family and frankly analyze the past as we now see it, being very careful not to criticize them. Their defects may be glaring, but the chances are that our own actions are partly responsible. So we clean house with the family, asking each morning in meditation that our Creator show us the way of patience, tolerance, kindness, and love. The spiritual life is not a theory. We have to live it. Unless one family expresses a desire to live upon spiritual principles, we think we ought not to urge them. We should not talk incessant, insistently to them about spiritual matters. They will change in time. Our behavior will convince them more than our words. We must remember that 10 or 20 years of drunkenness would make a skeptic out of anyone. There may be some wrongs we can never fully right. We don't worry about them if we can honestly say to ourselves that we would right them if we could. Some people cannot be seen. We send them an honest letter, and there may be a valid reason for postponement in some cases, but we don't delay if it can be avoided. We should be sensible, tactful, considerate, and humble without being servile or scraping. As God's people, we stand on our feet. We don't crawl before anyone. If we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we will be amazed before we are halfway through. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity and we will know peace, no matter how far down the scale we have gone. We will see how our experience can benefit others. That feeling of uselessness and self pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and of economic insecurities will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. Are these extravagant promises? We think not. They are being fulfilled among us, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. They will always materialize if we work for them. This thought brings us to step 10, which suggests we continue to take personal inventory and continue to set right any new mistakes as we go along. We variously commence this way of living as we cleaned up the past. We have entered the world of the spirit. Our next function is to grow in understanding and effectiveness. This is not an overnight matter. It should continue for our lifetime. Continue to watch for selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear. When these crop up, we ask God at once to remove them. We discuss them with someone immediately and make amends quickly if we have harmed anyone. Then we resolutely turn our thoughts to someone we can help. Love and tolerance of others is our code, and we have ceased fighting anything or anyone, even alcohol, for by this time sanity will have returned. We will seldom be interested in liquor. If tempted, we recoil from it as from a hot flame. We react sanely and normally, and we will find that this has happened automatically. We will see that our new attitude toward liquor has been given us without any thought or effort on our part. It just comes. That is the miracle of it. We are not fighting it, neither are we avoiding temptation. We feel as though we have been placed in a position of neutrality, safe and protected. We have not even sworn off. Instead, the problem has been removed. It does not exist for us. We are neither cocky nor are we afraid. That is our experience. That is how we react so long as we fit, keep in fit spiritual condition. It is easy to let upon on the spiritual program of action and rest on our laurels. We are headed for trouble if we do, for alcohol is a subtle foe. We are not cured of alcoholism. What we really have is a daily reprieve contingent on the maintenance of our spiritual condition. Every day is a day when we must carry the vision of God's will into all our activities. How can I best serve thee? Thy will, not mine, be done. These are thoughts which must go with us constantly. We can exercise our willpower along this line as we wish. It is the proper use of the will. Much has already been said about receiving strength, inspiration, and direction from Him who has all knowledge and power. If we had carefully followed directions we have begun to sense the flow of His Spirit into us. To some extent, we have become God conscious. We have begun to develop this vital sixth sense, but we must go further, and that means more action. Step 11 suggests prayer and meditation. We shouldn't be shy on this matter of prayer. Better men than we are using it constantly. It works if we have the proper attitude and work at it. It would be easy to be vague about this matter, yet we believe we can make some definite and valuable suggestions. When we retire at night, we constructively review our day. We were resentful, selfish, or were we? Selfish, respectful, dishonest, or afraid? Do we owe an apology? Have we kept something to ourselves which should be discussed with another person at once? Were we kind and loving towards all? What could we have done better? Were we thinking of ourselves most of the time, or were we thinking of what we could do for others, of what we could pack into a stream of life? But we must be careful not to drift into worry, remorse, or morbid reflection, for that would diminish our usefulness to others. After making our review, we ask God forgiveness and inquire what corrective measures should be taken. On awakening, let us think about the 24 hours ahead. We consider our plans for the day before we begin. We ask God to direct our thinking, especially asking that it be divorced from self pity, dishonest, or self seeking motives. Under these conditions, we can employ our mental faculties with assurance, for after all, God gave us brains to use. Our thought life will be placed on a much higher plane when our thinking is clear of wrong motives. And we thinking about our day, we may face indecision. We may not be able to determine which course to take. Here we ask God for inspiration and intuitive thought or a decision. We relax and take it easy. We don't struggle. We are often surprised how the right answers come after we have tried this for a while. What used to be the hunch or the occasion inspiration gradually became a working part of the mind. Being still inexperienced and having just made conscious contact with God, it is not probable that we are going to be inspired at all times. We might pay for this presumption in all sorts of absurd actions and ideas. Nevertheless, we find that our thinking will, as time passes, be more and more on the plane of inspiration. We come to rely upon it. We usually conclude the period of meditation with a prayer that we be shown all through the day what our next step is, that we be given whatever we need to take care of such problems. We ask especially for freedom and self will and are careful to make no request for ourselves only. We may ask for ourselves, however, if others will be helped. We are careful never to pray for our own selfish ends. Many of us have wasted a lot of time doing that and it doesn't work. We can easily see why. If circumstances warrant, we ask our wives or friends to join us in the morning meditation. If we belong to a religious denomination which requires a definite morning devotion, we attend to that also. If not members of religious bodies, we sometimes select and memorize a few set prayers which emphasize the principles we have been discussing. There are many helpful books. Also, suggestions about these may be obtained from one priest, minister, or rabbi. Be quick to see where, where religious people are right. Make use of what they offer. As we go through the day, we pause and we agitated or doubtful and ask for the right thought or action. We constantly remind ourselves we are no longer running the show, humbly saying to ourselves many times each day, Thy will be done. We are then in much less danger of excitement, fear, anger, worry, self pity, or foolish decisions. We become much more efficient. We do not tire so easily, for we are not burning up energy foolishly as we did when we were trying to rearrange life to suit ourselves. Work. It works. It really does. We alcoholics are undisciplined, so we let God discipline us in the simple way we have just outlined. But this is not all. There is action and more action. Faith without works is dead. The next chapter is entirely devoted the to step 12. So we haven't even gotten into the like build story and all those things yet, but that's coming up. Um, so this one talks about the spots where we're doing our amends and doing the steps to get us to where we have that daily occurring that we always thinking about what we've done in that day, the good we've done in the day, praying for others during the day. Like if I get upset about somebody or something, I pray for it. I mean, even at work, I get aggravated with the machines. And let me tell you, I'm always praying about them getting the stuff fixed. And it works. I mean, that's all I can do because I'm not the mechanic of these machines and I can't fix them on my own. So, like, I just pray that I can uh, get my work done and make it through my day. At the same time, I'm using my steps and doing my prayers for everything else that is around me to go smoothly for everybody in the building. And it just works. I didn't think when I first started AA, I went to meet a friend of mine, and that was the only reason I went. And then I got it. I went to that first meeting, and I was like, well, it won't hurt any to keep going, to go ahead and, give it an actual try. And I learned how to use these steps and utilize them as daily things that I do. Um, I have recently learned how to actually meditate. Now, a sponsor, she said in the beginning, read a book, play a game on your phone, meditate, doing those things. So that's what I have done for a very long time. And then I started doing my walking, and when I get back, I do a little bit of meditating with, you know, being silent and not doing anything else. And it clears my mind and gets me to relax and know that today is today. And the things that happen in the day is what's supposed to happen, and I can't change it. Again, the only thing I can change is my reaction and the things that I do in that day because I can't control anybody else. And that's what AA teaches us is to better control how we react and ways we do our own day. You can't walk up to somebody and say, hey, you have to do this or you have to do that, like we used to when we were drinking, being very demanding when you're drunk. Yes, I was very demanding. I wanted it my way or the highway, and that's not how life works. So, but um, sorry, my phone's going off. A lot of places are hiring again, but I have a job. But so just knowing that you can take your time on your steps, you don't have to rush through them like some people think you do. That's not it at all. You just work them in as the way you can into your day every day. And I mean, I can be around somebody that's drinking and it doesn't bother me anymore. When I first got sober, it did. I mean, I couldn't even go in the grocery store and go down the beer aisle because I thought, oh, great, I'm going to go buy myself a beer. I was seriously worried about it. And now it doesn't bother me. I'm not picking my nose. I have a nose ring and it's driving me crazy. But it, it gets a lot easier as time goes on. And that's the part where it says these are thoughts which must go with us constantly. We can exercise our willpower along this line all we wish. It is the proper use of the will, and that is thy will be done. By saying thy will be done, that means it's out of our hands, right? Um, I said a couple weeks ago that went to a YouTube meetup and somebody had a giant bottle of Jack Daniels, and he turned around and offered me a drink, and I was like, oh no, nope. I gave that up long ago. And for me, I'm proud to say that I'm sober and I've been sober for almost 11 years. And it's hard to believe my birthday's coming up pretty soon. And I, I honestly don't think I would be sitting here if I had not gone to that first meeting. Um, I didn't even hear anything during that first meeting, really, because I don't think I had my hearing aid in. But It was the fact that there were so many other people in there, not a lot, but there was many other people in there with the same problem. And that was the astonishing part, was here I was in a room of people that completely understood what I was going through, and I was the newcomer. I didn't even say my name. My husband had to. He didn't have to, he chose to, but that first meeting is when I realized that going to a meeting is not going to hurt me, that it might help me to stay away from the alcohol for good. And then I learned I got to do all this work. At first, I was like, no, not happening. And then I was like, I really should, you know, try to do these things. And I tried and I succeeded and I'm still going. And I've helped people to get sober, to stay sober. And when they fall, they get back up and they go again. And it takes a lot of courage when somebody falls and goes back out and comes back, because it's the guilt of knowing that you did that and then you have to start all over again. My thing is I don't want to start over. I want to keep going. And I think that's why I've been able to stay sober this long with AA's help and my sponsors and my sponsees. I have to give them all credit. And then my friends here on YouTube. I have friends here that support me doing the meetings as well. And I've helped some of them too. So, I mean, it's a full circle. And that's why I do these meetings. So, I'm going to go ahead and read the daily reflection and then let you guys go about your day. I hope you all have a safe and wonderful Halloween and an unbroken tradition. We conceive the survival and spread of Alcoholics Anonymous to be something of far greater importance than the weight we could collectively throw back of any other cause. 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, page 177. How much it means to me that an unbroken tradition of more than half a century is a thread that connects me to Bill W. and Dr. Bob. How much more grounded I feel to be in a fellowship whose aims are constant and unflagging. I am grateful that the enemies of AA have never been scattered, but focused instead on our members and on individual sobriety. My beliefs are what makes me human. I am free to hold an opinion, but AA's purpose, so clearly stated 50 years ago, is for me to keep sober. That purpose has promoted round-the-clock meeting schedules in the thousands of intergroups and central service offices. With their thousands of volunteers, like the sun focused through a magnifying glass, AA's single vision has lit a fire of faith in sobriety in millions of hearts, including mine. Amen to that. So, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Keep coming back. It works if you work it. I love you guys. Be safe out there and stay sober. And if you need help, there's always help. Just look up an AA meeting. Um, they're everywhere. So with that, I love you guys.